watching other tournaments leading up to ESL 1.
I like the Rubik pickup here. It's really good for Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, definitely. It's also very good against Lash.
Yeah.
Yes. What's your plan, guys, to lane against the Undying? That's what I feel like when you pick up an Undying, especially early on, you've got to have a plan to deal with that hero in lane.
Well, you don't know if he's going to be support. You don't know if he's going to be solo off lane or dual off lane.
I would guess because it's IG that it'll probably be support. Faith is generally their Undying player. I think he's 3-2 this patch with it. And I don't think they've run it on another hero. I don't think Lua's run it.
I'm so used to hearing Alan name stats of, well, they're like 44 and 20, and you're 3-2. I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound that impressive. I mean, sure, it's positive, but...
Alan is right, though, and that's probably one of the reasons why they picked up the Spirit Breaker as the immediate response, just because they know it's not going to be an offline Undying. Offline? Off-lane?
Offline.
Well, hopefully, definitely not offline for IG. I would really hope that he's playing online right there. And still waiting on a couple more bans. I mean, yeah, it's really down to the wire for both of these teams, so everyone thinking really carefully. And also, again, we had some new heroes open up, so the field's changed a little bit. You can't just go down the line as you used to in the previous games.
So one thing you guys have been alluding to as well is that the Queen of Pain and the SF are still in the pool. How much do you think that the first phase Leshrac pick decreases the value of those heroes? Because I feel like Leshrac really abuses those two, 1v1 in lane.
I mean, there's not really a hero that can just straight up beat a Lesh one-on-one, right? And you want a hero that can, I think, dominate the side lanes a lot and control runes, so Leshrac doesn't get out of control.
Not like a Viper, maybe?
Viper's like okay, I would say, but he can't really do that much in the side lanes.
I do think he still struggles.
Yeah.
I guess one thing you can point out is that for whoever is going to be the solo mid hero on the side of IGs, it's going to be a dire mid hero, and that's even more of a difficulty.
Sure. I mean, alternatively, you can wait to control him later. A lot of teams have turned to anti-mage as the carry of choice, and Burning's very famous for his anti-mage.
True. All right, well, how does Cloud9 maybe prepare against that ahead of time, or do you just have to, again, we've been talking about this, do you just have to kind of wait until that last set of bans and picks, the last phase, to really secure a victory here in terms of picks and bans?
I wouldn't say last phase. Usually second phase gives you a lot away. Like in terms of where heroes go, like right now, Ben was mentioning the Undying is not set in any lane yet. He can still go offlane. Yes, we have a stat that it's most likely Faith, so you can aim towards the support Undying, but at the same time, it's not set where Ward goes. Leshrac can still be a support, a mid, or a safe carry as well.
That's true. The counterpoint to what I was saying earlier about the drafts is that the reason that these drafts are usually so open recently in this meta is that the first two picks are generally multi-role heroes. Here, I really would be reluctant if I were IG to take Lua outside his comfort zone and put him on an offlane hero that maybe he's not as comfortable with. And yeah, I mean, Cloud9 going to go right back to the Razor. This is a hero that Eternal Envy has looked really, really good on recently.
And there's that Queen coming out despite the Lesh pick. IG still favoring that hero. And Razor, can he continue his undefeated streak so far in the current patch?
But this just shows how good of a pick Leshrac is. Again, it can go on any role, and right now Cloud9's draft is completely in the open. They can put the Razor on the middle lane, they can put Leshrac on the middle lane, put Razor in the farming position, put Leshrac on support, maybe with a Shadow Demon.
And what I really don't like is I really dislike these situations when you've got two heroes that can both beat your Queen of Pain 1v1.
And that's a Prophet fourth pick here by the side of Cloud9.
No-Tail Prophet is legit.
Would you say it's is that a support?
I think so.
Prophet? Okay.
Okay. IG. What's the plan against C9 here in the last game?
It's one of the ways of dealing with Undying as well, right? You maximize your jungle and you have ranged heroes on the lane against it. It makes it infinitely worse, I feel.
The other thing is that Prophet on the offlane would control supports a lot better. It's usually one of those heroes that gives you a lot of information because you have a lot of tree scouting.
Yeah.
You will know where the supports are, and
you may have changed my mind with that. I think you're right.
I wouldn't be too safe to say that it's going to be a support Prophet, because I think it's also a lot harder to execute in comparison to an offlane.
SF coming out too. I mean, this is something you guys were discussing earlier. Queen of Pain and the Shadow Fiend, do you maybe shy away from that because of the Lesh pick, but IG saying, hey, well, you know, they're still available. Sure, they have the Lesh. Might as well secure them. What do you think about that, Ben?
I think it means they're going to aggro. I think Burning plays the Queen of Pain very, very well. and Ferrari on the Shadow Fiend, which means Undying Rubik going to the offlane. And if they do a greedy Jungle's Nature Prophet, it will be punished with the Undying. And maybe they can shut down a Razor a little bit with this, but I'm
So what are the offlane potential heroes for Luo right now, assuming that is the plan? What are we looking at, Alan? What does he have success on?
I mean, at this point, we've all learned to go by the numbers, right? That's what's the most trustworthy here. As we try to wrap up, the last man comes out from Cloud9, the Broodmother, and IG. What do they? Is there anything they really need to shut out now?
What about?
I mean, I still see
The thing that pops out at me is
being
that
banned out.
you've got a Tusk, which Luo is still. Tusk is still in the pool, right? And they banned the Brood.
No, Tusk is the first
Tusk
ban.
was banned
Yeah.
first ban. Okay.
I mean, Luo doesn't. He didn't
Darkseer?
have the greatest clockwork.
Darkseer?
Darkseer is his most played hero.
No Centaur? I mean, Darkseer combos semi-well with Queen of Pain and Shadow Fiend. I'm not against it, but it sort of takes away from the tri-lane. Then maybe they should put Duo on the safe lane farming and just aggressive with burning.
Does Luo play Quap?
Not in this patch.
Okay.
I mean, they could alternatively put Luo on Quap and give Burning something like Weaver.
Yeah, I was gonna go more in that direction. Actually, I really Burning's Queen of Pain has been really good, but he's also had some really rough matches on that.
I think Weaver is actually incredibly good against the lineup of Cloud9.
Yeah, well, maybe this is the time where they swap that back out.
I'm not so sure about that.
Weaver is really a personal preference hero right now, though. It really depends on whether you feel comfortable fighting with like Tread's Wand and Bottle. Like Illidan has been incredible on that hero because he's gotten so comfortable fighting early on.
All right, well, Visage did a lot of good work for C9 last game. We'll see if that continues. I mean, right now it looks like C9 is going to have a ton of information to work with throughout the game, given their hero lineup. Oh, and Lina, the last pick by IG. I mean, given the final lineups, you guys think so? Luo Quap and then
it's a Luo Quap.
All right. Well, that's it for the picks and bans, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a tense match so far. Quite back and forth, really, in both games 1 and 2. But we are ready to go into game number 3. So, casters, please take it away, and let's find out who moves on to the semifinals tomorrow.
Game number 3 between Cloud9 and IG. And again, Cloud9 picking up a rather interesting draft. Sin?
Yeah, they were really creative today. I love seeing stuff like this. I'm really happy for Cloud9 that their draft in the previous game worked out because they've had so many, they theory craft really hard as a team. And sometimes it just goes horribly wrong, but just to have one of their theory craft strats work in that previous game is going to give them a lot of confidence going into this. So that said, though, I think IG have some of their absolute comfort picks. They love playing Undying and Shadow Fiend as well as the Queen of Pain. So they've got 3 of their absolute strongest, and they're rocking the Arcanas as well, so they're ready. And then on Cloud9's side, we were discussing internally whether we were expecting an offlane prophet, maybe a support prophet with an offlane spirit breaker, and it does look like the answer is Bone7 will be playing the prophet, and it's a support duo of Spirit Breaker and Visage. That's pretty unusual.
Yeah, this is really greedy, right? The Spirit Breaker can operate okay without farm, but Visage really wants that Aghanims, and oh wow, you can already see a very aggressive move from IG. We were talking about also the possibilities of, they brought it up on the panel, the aggressive tri-lane from IG. Originally they were talking about Queen of Pain there, but the last pick of Lina obviously, well, I feel like ensures that it's an aggro tri-lane, the telekinesis into the stun, plus you have the Undying. Look at IG, we've seen this before, the wraparound, the heavy committal, all the way behind the tower into the lane itself to be able to wrap around and hopefully catch someone from the side. Unfortunately, IG just barely missed the mark there. Big Daddy unknowingly happened to just walk right past IG without the smoke popping.
Juke ever. Oh, that's pretty good. That's some next level stuff if you thought they were going to go for that move, because they usually take that route. But teams tend to mix it up a little bit, especially when it's important games like this. Sometimes you try to pull out something different. But yeah, he got away from that very nicely. Now, IG do actually not get anything out of this. They got no information. They planted no wards. And the only thing they really secure is the bounty rune for Ferrari that he probably would have got anyway. And he's going to be playing mid lane against Fatse. You talked about last game, Fatse is really good on playing these lane dominators where he gets ahead and can stay ahead. Right. I think this is one of those skill matchups where if Leshrac lands one key stun on Shadow Fiend with one gank, you can get a kill, and then all of a sudden he can't lane alone anymore.
Yes, you could very easily win this lane up against an SF and start taking into him, in which case does IG really need to rethink the aggro tri-lane? Do you rotate Chuan over there to help out the SF occasionally and put pressure on him? Or do you just make sure that Eternal Envy and Big Daddy don't get anything in this bottom duel lane?
I think focusing on this bottom lane is fine. By the way, I might have made a mistake. There is a ward placed. It's been down for 45 seconds, though, I guess. So
It was placed after
They
this.
placed it after? Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, I wasn't seeing things that were there, or the other way around.
Oh, talking about the gank in middle already. Misery's coming in from behind. They're going to be able to land the stun, follow up Split Earth, and Ferrari, this should be our first blood. It's the Lightning and the last right click of Misery. And boy, the crowd, you can hear the Cloud9 fans roar at that one.
This is a really big problem. This lane is already lost, actually. He's 1-0 against the Lesh, who's 5-1 and has the kill advantage. So he's level 3 against the level 2.5.
Oh, but here's the turnaround. Big Daddy, nice dodge at that light strike array. That was a beauty. But can Big Daddy actually get himself away? He puts himself in the trees, but there's no real escape from there. So he will end up going down, but still, it's Cloud9 who pick up that first blood and establish dominance for Fada and mid.
They're going to have to protect Ferrari, I think. That's the problem. They want to play this as an aggressive tri lane, but probably Tron will have to either get a TP or just flat out start playing in the mid lane as Misery again looking for the charge. They're going to get the follow-ups done as well. Ferrari's in a lot of trouble.
But they don't have any mana on Fada. They may not be able to finish him off. The last right click isn't quite enough, and now Ferrari's actually healing up. Misery's tanky is all hell, but he's not going to be able to finish off Ferrari. One race, two race. Ferrari's brought low. Now the telekinesis does go down, but it could be a double. Both 7 running himself away. No tower aggro, so he is out. Ferrari with the turnaround there. Thought he could actually get off the double race. Meanwhile, at the same time, top lane, Luo ends up taking out the Visage as they leave that top lane with the Furion. It exposes that one support. So IG, they lost the SF still, but because the Queen of Pain picks up that extra kill on top, it seems worth it for them.
Such a perfect TP into the mid lane by Faith there. I thought it was actually the Rubik of Tron coming in, but Faith ends up getting a good tombstone. They managed to get the turnaround kill. Of course, they lose their Shadow Fiend again there, but Ferrari at least gets some sort of hope in this game now, getting his bottle from the assist gold, I do believe there. And with Luo claiming a solo kill up top, IG could actually try to go for a lane swap if they wanted.
IG, they were hunting. Good idea from Eternal Envy. He hit himself in those trees, but realized that, you know, that's all over with. If Faith just drops a tombstone anywhere around there in order to clear through the trees, it might just reveal him. So instead he TPs out right as Chuan probably would have scouted out that tree hiding spot. So he does get himself back to base, and we'll try and wait for the push in from IG, but they seem to be controlling lane. Middle, Ferrari's going to go down yet again. These ganks just keep on happening. Big Daddy is going to be in slight trouble, but IG, without the tombstone dropped preemptively, we're not going to be able to take advantage of that telekinesis.
If they want Ferrari to be a part of this game, they have to either lane the Rubik mid right now, or they need to move him to the top lane and put the Quap mid. Because if this continues, he's going to be a non-factor. We talk a lot about how Shadow Fiend is a good comeback hero, but there is a limit, okay? He's got 4 CS min at 4.
Yeah.
He's 3 deaths. He's level 3 against the Lesh, who's level 5.5. This is an absolutely unplayable lane one-on-one, and he has to be so careful now, as Fata is also quadrupling his CS in the mid lane right now.
Yeah, insanity. Just the lightning spam alone is going to be enough to push the SF back a lot. So, and he still has that rotation of the Spirit Breaker. Due to the successful ganks, he's actually level 3, has boots as well as an Orb of Venom. So he is very much a danger to behold. And when paired up with another support like Big Daddy, who's going to show himself here in this middle lane, it can be quick kills. But we can't forget, this is coming at the cost of Eternal Envy's farm. Now, he is being pushed back once again. Oh, Eternal Envy, he puts himself in the trees. Tombstone gets laid out, and Faith just hoping to be able to survive this one. He does manage to finish him off. The Soul Ruff gets him. Meanwhile, the stun, though, goes on to Burning, as well as Faith trapped in the trees from both Sevens and teleport in. They lose Eternal Envy, but he wasn't getting farm anyway. Fada picks up another 2 kills.
Bone 7 getting involved at the perfect time right here. He's not level 6 yet, but they don't even need the Wrath of Nature. Just his right clicks and the fact that he kind of blocks their path in the back. They can't run through this amount of damage, and Cloud9 getting a good 2-for-1 trade. I think it's well worth it to lose their Razor for that, even though, wow, Envy is actually suffering more than I thought he is, only with 9 CS. That's at least one thing going IG's way, but they're still pretty far behind.
Yeah, I mean, the only CS he's actually picked up has been through spamming out Plasma Fields, so he is getting shut down. And the Queen of Pain is doing okay when it comes to free farming. Obviously, we saw those early rotations, but boy, this is definitely a Cloud9 favorite crowd, as I think I hear them chanting for the C9
All I'm
boys.
hearing is Navi.
All right, the Arcane
That's all I
Boots.
can hear. Whenever a crowd cheers, that's just the thing that comes to mind.
All right, it's 5-4 right now.
Make it here.
5.5 minutes, and they do now have the Fury on ultimate, which is obviously a huge impact. It feels like Luo has got to get involved now that he's picked up his level 6, though. It just seems that continually running this aggressive lane for burning is not going to work out much longer, especially with the Fury now having that extra nuking power through his ultimate.
Yeah, this is looking very solid for Cloud9, especially if they can get No-Tail up to level 6 at a reasonable timing. They've managed in their last games to find a good balance between ganking and farming their supports. And Visage is one of those heroes where it's really crucial that you do not focus too much in ganking. The levels, this hero maybe more than any other support really needs one core item as well as a level 7 at a reasonable timing. And giving him just that little bit of time in mid until Fata joins is definitely worth it.
The supports, as well as even Luo, trying to help out this middle lane. They're going to grab Fata. Here comes the Sonic Wave from behind. They actually take out Fata as well as Big Daddy instantly. Misery's now trying to get out, slowed down. Chuan even has a double damage to assist to this one. Races are coming back up from Ferrari as well. Hits one, and it takes, well, no, Chuan takes a triple kill actually for Luo. As that gank, critical success there for IG to try and turn around what was a bad laning phase for Ferrari. Now he picks up not only soon to be his level 6, but look at the stacks they had available for Ferrari once he was able to get those levels.
He's actually back in the game entirely now. He's even going to stack 2 camps here, I believe. The big camp was, no, that was not pulled at the right time, but he got the other one, so.
And you really can't say the same for Eternal Envy. There's no comeback mechanism. Like you said, the SF can always make a comeback, right? But there's no comeback mechanism for a Razor, really.
They really don't have any way of Envy to get into the game, it feels, for the next 5 to 10 minutes. He's just going to have to try to farm. I think what you do with Racer in this situation is that you don't prioritize static link because you can't man fight anyway. So you max out the plasma field, and you might even consider getting multiple points in unstable current early, just so you can reflect some of that damage from like telekinesis, the lift, or sorry, telekinesis, fate bolt, maybe even a shadow strike. Like all of those things obviously do add up. But yeah, he's in a really, really bad position right now as Ferrari 34 CS. Well, I thought it was going to be really hard for him to come back, but that one triple kill from Luo, the really big player of the game for IG with 4-0 at this point.
Yeah, we said he had to get involved, and he did it beautifully there. Now, there still is Fata as well as Bone 7 to worry about from the side of Cloud9. Yes, Eternal Envy is shut down, but Fata top of the board right now, 52-5, and he's 3-1-2 when it comes to kills, and Bone 7 is getting quite a lot of farm as that offlaner hasn't died yet, has 42 CS.
My main concern for Cloud9 is that they might struggle to destroy the Tombstone in the upcoming fight, where if IG set it up correctly, between the Tombstone, just their ability to chase down heroes and their raw spell burst, they have a core Lina played in a farming role. They have the Shadow Fiend now with level 7 for the triple raises. And of course, we saw Luo's damage output in the last fight. They're going to need to itemize somewhat defensively, or their execution needs to be super crisp to not just vanish the moment IG initiate. Now, Bone 7 is working on an Orchid. It's a very classic build for him to get that first, and that could play a key role, especially I think that the core target is going to be burning here, where you want to disallow him from getting his multiple Laguna Blades. Okay, let's not dream here. Multiple Dragon Slaves off in team fights, as well as, of course, a key Laguna Blade onto who I imagine would be Leshrac as the main target.
We do have a lot of items that are going to be picked up by IG that mitigate the Orchid quite heavily, right? I mean, you still have the SF, who naturally builds most often into Mech BKB, which are both a soft counter as well as a hard counter to Orchid. Oh, Chuan's going to be picked up here. Stunned up, split earth, and quickly bursted down. That's the power of a Leshrac right there, who now rotates into the jungle to see if he can potentially find Ferrari, but he's quick to back himself up. Also, going back to the Eul's thing, there's going to be a Eul Scepter pickup for Lina, right? Which, again, is a kind of soft counter to the Orchid as well.
Yeah, they might have the tools it takes at the right time to counter this Prophet, but I still think Bone 7 is making the right call going for it. Like,
yeah, just because he's so far ahead.
Eul's, that's something. And as you say, he's far ahead, so he can actually solo kill heroes right now. I think even when Lina has a Eul's, he probably can't solo kill her, but until that point, he might need the Orchid before the Eul's, unless burning. What does he have on the courier right now? Does he have any of the components?
Fata comes in, there's already a Tombstone laid out, but it's worth it if they can burst down burning, but it's not quite enough. The Soul Rip keeps him alive, and he turns around the Laguna Blade. Big Daddy falls in well. Misery's gonna come through. Choo-choo, Light Strike Array. He actually hits Misery, and Bernie's gonna survive. He gets away, and Misery falls. Double kill for Ferrari, and a third pickup for the side of IG as they now march into that Tier 1 tower.
Yeah, that looked like it could be a good opening for Cloud9, but just not enough damage there. Need one more spell to burst through. Spirit Breaker not level 6 of the just yet. The Prophet ult was not available, I believe. They actually went for that fight without Wrath of Nature, which could have changed it entirely. They would have probably killed Burning on the opener. And instead they take 3 casualties, lose a tower. Nice deny attempt there from No-Tail, but doesn't manage to get it. And IG, they were looking crippled in the very early game. Now looking pretty hot, honestly. Ferrari almost has a mech. Minute 11, he was out of the game
and now
for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's actually almost tied up with both the Leshrac and the Furion when it comes to net worth. He's just 200 gold from behind. Now, with that Bounty Rune upping him up right next to Bone 7, this is a very good comeback from Ferrari. And again, you look towards Eternal Envy, who's half of the net worth of Ferrari, and that's going to get even worse as they start pushing for more towers and potentially more kills. Misery does get caught by the telekinesis, double races from Ferrari. What a terrible start that for Ferrari. Now he's even got an even kill score, 3, 3, and 4.
His mech is 1 or 2 creeps away. He'll go for the golems. That should be enough. And what's the trade-off for Cloud9? They still have Prophet split pushing, closing in on the Orchid, but they've just lost so much in the last few minutes that it's like this Orchid could just have been so impactful, but they've just given away 5 kills to IG at, I think, the cost of nothing, is even losing the bottom tier 1 as well. And this...
Oh my god, I didn't even see this. Chuan actually stole familiars, and they're going to kill Big Daddy's familiars right here, at least one of them. So this is a... Oh, wow, it actually gets away. But this is still a familiar advantage going the way of IG.
This is one of the best spell steals in the game this early on. Familiars are incredible. And of course, you keep them until you die or for the 3-minute duration. And that is enough to put them in a really comfortable position to go for this play, which I think is a little bit bold, but it's also super unexpected, so Cloud9 might not even check.
Yep, they're going to be able to take, looks like Roshan pretty easily. Cloud9 are not moving over to contest. In fact, they may not even know. They've got some pretty defensive wards around this middle lane, but nothing exclusively on that river. So looks like they're just going to get a slight trade-off here of split pushing and farming, but definitely well worth the investment from IG.
Yeah, and Cloud9 were even smoked there, and they don't get anything out of their smoke as a result. So, or maybe I spoke too soon. They still have half the smoke left, so it's possible they could make a play on this. But they need to be really careful now. Ferrari is actually so strong at this. Oh, they even get the deny there by burning. Very nicely done. It's like Cloud9 can't get like one thing going for them in the last 5 minutes. Everything is going wrong.
It certainly is. Luo has himself a Staff of Wizardry. What does this mean for our Queen of Pain? Does he see the Orchid coming and he wants to get a Yule Scepter? Or does he go for like the Necronomicon that you've been suggesting the last 2 games?
You know what would be good this game? I think Necronomicon. I don't know, actually. There are a couple of... All right, it's the Yules, yeah. So there's a couple of reasons to get this item. You mentioned the Orchid. It's really good against Spirit Breaker for the Pop, who can't really avoid getting charged into Nether Strike, but with this item, you can always just Yules the Spirit Breaker, reset, re-go. It's a nice setup for the Lina. Lina doesn't have to Yules herself. If it's on cooldown, someone else can catch up and do it. And just generally, all in all, even a good farming item for him too. So he has the mana regen to split push better.
Yeah, I feel like that point about the Spirit Breaker is that added advantage that really goes the way of the Yule Scepter. I mean, any item choice he could have picked up, I really feel like Yule's is the best option with the analysis that you brought of being able to stop that Spirit Breaker, who can be such a heavy counter to a Queen of Pain. Now, Eternal Envy is going to be in some serious trouble here. There goes one Yule's. Follow up, Light Strike around. They do have the Laguna Blade, which they will throw at Eternal Envy. No mercy, Isama, famous for those words, but IG will return the favor.
He took the green laser and the blue laser at once. that hurts.
You really are the dankest memer.
Thank you.
The moistest memer in Dankford. 6-12, 15 minutes in. A 2,000 gold lead for IG, 4K experience as well. IG seemed to have turned this game on its head after such a big advantage was won by Cloud9 in the first few minutes with those ganks on middle. Now just may turn a bit sour.
What are IG looking to do right now? They're trying to take control of their own jungle. This Sentry Ward just outside range of that OBS, actually. So they'll have that for another minute and 20 at the very least. And, well, Luo might have found himself a Yule setup.
Yeah, and there's the TPs out from Cloud9 as well. They're not trying to save Big Daddy whatsoever. Burning now on a killing spree. Those poor familiars being hunted down as well. There's a Bloodstone out from the Leshrac.
That is really good timing. He's died twice and he still has it minute 15. He's got 4 kills though and good farm as they now find Ferrari. Can they get him twice though?
This is going to be an Aegis eventually. No, he actually pops a mech. He's going to be able to survive maybe. Well, letting loose that ultimate. They will force the rest of Cloud9 back and they will not be forced to use that Aegis just yet. Good defense there from IG.
That is a really good spell from Chuan as well. Lightning Storm is so powerful. 4-second cooldown. And without even having a cast point on it like Lesh does, it's very easy to chase down targets for the Rubik himself as well. So they need to be very careful. And I'm not sure if Fata realized it got stolen. If he didn't, that could be a really big problem in the upcoming team fight. There's just going to be 4-second cooldown, 260 damage nukes coming out that they might not be expecting. And Envy's dead.
Yes, he certainly is. A rotation around, telekinesis, light strike array, and burning! I think he's trying to make a statement here. Carry for carry.
And the blue laser.
And that's going to be soon an upgraded blue laser when you have the point booster building into that the Aghanims for the Laguna Blade. That pure damage is going to come in big time. This means that Razor can't even try and go for a BKB against this.
Envy is in a lot of trouble this game. He got sacked in lane and they haven't given him any comeback mechanic as a team. No stacking. They haven't really lane swapped. They've just accepted. We're gonna dig a really big hole and we're gonna put Envy into it and then we hope he can crawl out of it on his own in the mid game. Has not really happened. And now the other ones are looking they're just standing above the grave and looking down like, come on Envy, get up. And well, you know, he might need a little bit of a hand at this point from the Cloud9 squad. I don't know what they can do for him though. Like, I feel like it's just too late for Raze's impact to become significant in this game, which is a shame when you have to say that minute 17, but he really is out of steam.
Yeah, it seemed like they were putting a lot of faith in Envy being able to utilize the Radiant farm, which for Razor is really good because you're actually able to hit all 3 of those camps with Plasma Field, which can be a decent way to farm up, but it's not going to get you back in this game after such a heavy start.
Radiant's middle tower.
And IG, they're just balling down mid lane. They take the tier 1. They're looking for the tier 2. Ferrari still has the Aegis for another, what's that, 10 seconds? So maybe Cloud9 can hit a timing window, but it looks like they're just content to trade. They'll look to get the top tier 2 with No Tail, who does have a TP to get back, but maybe he doesn't even get the trade. All right, here comes Bone. They're going to get that at the very least.
All right, yep, tier 2 for tier 2. It'll be taken by at least, the familiars from Big Daddy. Speaking of him, where is... Oh, he actually doesn't even have the medallion yet, so Big Daddy's farm is not looking too hot. Of course, he is playing a little bit more of a harder support than usual. Misery's actually gotten a decent amount of farm on himself, and that may work out, depending on what Misery goes for here. This Gloves of Haste, is this going to be a later Midas, or is he actually hoping to pick up a different attack speed item? It seems a little late for a Midas, but I can't see you going something like Maelstrom.
I don't think there's any other build-up that makes sense for him right now.
Yeah.
The alternatives are Armlet, Maelstrom, or a second Treads. So, you know, it's got to be the Midas. I think Cloud9 realized they're behind. They have to try to make Spirit Breaker a core in this game and try to play for later. The good news is their lineup is actually decent at split pushing.
Look at the TP around from
Ferrari
behind.
is screwed in this top lane. This should be a pretty easy kill. Gets the mech off. It's not enough.
Beautiful. 3-man game.
That's the Midas.
Oh, there goes a Yule Scepter trying to burst down Bone 7. Ooh, that Spirit Breaker barely gets away home to his Midas. But it's still a trade-off. Yes, they lost the SF, but get the kill on Bone 7 in return. And Bone 7's farm is not to be questioned. He's got a Blink Dagger as well as the Orchid. Played a huge factor there in being able to gank up that SF.
Cloud9 will need to play split push. The Blink Dagger build on Prophet signals that that's what they're trying to do. Of course, it sets you up for some nice Blink Orchids as well mid-fights, but I think they should just avoid fights entirely. Farm with the Midas on the Spirit Breaker, split push as much as you can with the Prophet. Leshrac can farm really fast and push out waves, and you even have the birds to help out a little bit when it comes to pushing the side lanes. So maybe they can just split up the map enough to disallow IG to 5-man, because they are way superior right now, especially fighting around the Undying.
Yeah, they're going to have to play it really well, though, against these double Yule Scepters from the side of IG. Ooh, look at that. Burning actually slowing down that Aghanim Scepter with the Blink Dagger pickup of his own. This means it's going to be even more difficult to get successful split pushes from Cloud9. If they're actually utilizing their heroes, they're susceptible to getting caught by that catching mechanism. And it feels like they're going to have to play a lot more through summons, both the familiars as well as the treants.
Misery charging up mid. He's going to cancel it. Yes, Chuan looking for some sort of opening, but Cloud9 think better of it. I'm pretty sure the ward they have in the bottom lane did spot the diagonal blink coming out from burning into their jungle, so they know this is going on. And in addition to that, there's no one in the side lane, so it's pretty clear that IG are looking for a play mid. Is now Eternal Envy will keep pushing in the bottom lane. This is pretty aggressive. He's going to Plasma Field and instantly TP because Burning could more or less just solo him right now with a TP into his full combo.
Yeah, IG, with the gem that they've picked up, they've gotten killed out a lot of the wards here from Cloud9. They're going to have to play really, really passive if this vision ends up going down, especially in this top lane. This is so critical. If these two different jungle wards get taken away, Cloud9 are left completely in the dark against two different blinking, disabling heroes. Blink Yules from Burning, and the Blink, obviously, from the Queen of Pain with another Yules. That's easy ways to be able to set up the rest of your allies to follow that up. They have to split push, but it's a danger every single time. It's a huge risk every single time you go for these pushes.
It is very, very difficult, and I'm curious to see what path Luo takes for his next item. He's sitting on 3k gold, as you mentioned, and I don't know what the best build-up is here. If you think about, okay, we want a team fight, we get the BKB, but I think that might be too defensive when he already has the Yules. So he can either get the Orchid and just really look to fight, or maybe he just farms up really fast. And what would be the best item for that? I'm actually not sure. What would be
He could go another Scythe of Vice.
Necrobook? All right, I'll still not.
Do you think it's too late for an Aghanims? Oh, IG. He's actually managed to get to the Yule Scepter onto Misery, but they're just trying to back themselves away ahead of those birds. Yeah, Stupid Luo whiffing on that one. Faith is going to be brought low by the Orchid, but not quite low enough. He turns around, gets off the Tombstone, but Luo has been hit by the Split Earth and will end up going down. There's a buyback here from Burning, and they're going to try and take this fight inside their own jungle. The ultimate goes out from Ferrari, instantly blowing up Big Daddy. Burning also coming in with the Yule Scepter, catching Eternal Envy, and this will be a successful buyback, it seems, by being able to get the pick off on Eternal Envy, turning the fight to IG's favor, but it did cost them a pretty penny.
Still think that's actually a net loss for them overall. I thought that was going to be enough to give them the advantage for that fight, but
yeah, maybe if Eternal Envy had more farm.
Yeah. Well, Cloud9 get a little bit. Unfortunately for them, I don't think any of the killing blows went Envy's way. No, he's got 0 kills in this game, and he's the hero they really want to get a core item on. It looks like he's got a Mithril Hammer in his stash. I feel like this is going to be a really bad BKB game. We're talking Laguna with Axe upgrade. We're talking Sonic Wave that pierces it anyway. And of course, the Shadow Fiend's right clicks are still, even though he's not the strongest damage dealer in the game most of the time, Envy has 9 armor. I thought I read 4, so I got 2. Like, okay, it's not that bad, but still. He can't play the Razor way, and that's the problem. He needs to be up in your face. He's going to have to kite with a Razor. That sucks.
At the same time, though, there is like the Yule Scepter into Light Strike Array, a lot of magic damage that's coming out from the side of IG that isn't, that pure damage that goes through BKB. And if he can force the Laguna Blade on himself, he'll be able to get the turnaround of, his passive Unstable Current actually shocking the Lina. And since he's not he's not the primary damage dealer at this point, if they're forced to use the Laguna Blade on him, that means his Leshrac can come in and just, clean house with his Bloodstone, which he's already gotten 2 extra charges with, as well as now that BKB.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, even Fata with a BKB, this is not the best BKB game. I think Lesh more than Razor might just have to get it just to be able to run through in the fights, because he wants to be up in their face as well. And by having more farm and more damage than Envy, he is more relevant with his BKB. But at the same time, if you're IG and you get the choice, you blow up the Lesh instantly with the Laguna, and then that BKB might not help enough. So I think Fata will be looking for, hearing a record? I think Fata will be looking for an Octarine core to really tank up and get the health pool going.
But Ferrari, there goes that Shadow Blade, and they will not be able to take down Fata. Luo could have potentially tried to go for the Sonic Wave, but it didn't look like it was going to be enough damage. Plus, he just had the Aghanims coming in, so he wants to wait that one out. Still, though, I feel kind of not real confident, but I'm feeling a little confident about the way that Cloud9 are managing to draw out this game. IG, obviously, it's only 25 minutes in. They have plenty of time to try and push uphill, but it seems like Cloud9 are really benefiting from the space that they're getting. I don't think they've really been picked off too many times by these various Blink Yule Scepters.
Absolutely not. IG's lead is, as a matter of fact, pretty minimal, both in terms of gold and experience. They're only 1k ahead, which might be a little bit surprising when you look at the kill score and the overall feel you've had in this game, but Cloud9 are getting some good farm on other heroes than the Razor as that.
This time around, Fada will not escape. Didn't have that BKB. That's a huge pickoff. It's not only the top net worth here on Cloud9, but also takes away those Bloodstone charges, which is so critical. Now from 10 down to 6.
And they also take control of the enemy jungle. They, of course, already have the 2 aggressive wards down. And they know there's no vision for Cloud9 with the gem on Faith. So feeling very comfortable playing around this jungle. Now, this is the really good part about having a Prophet for Cloud9, is that whenever you know where the enemy team are, they're ganking together as a squad, Bone 7 will always be able to force them to rotate. So someone has to go back to base. In this case, it will be Burning, who needs to clear out the creep wave. And in the meantime, well, Envy can just farm the enemy jungle because, you know, their own jungle is occupied by IG. So it just ends up being a farm trade-off where Misery, we talked about his Midas build-up. He's closing it on a BKB, might become a relevant core later on. Visage will always be relevant mid-late game with any decent amount of farm, and No-Tail's keeping up.
How long do you draw this out as IG? I mean, we feel like they're still in control of this game. They have split push to deal with, and it's a bother, but they seem to still have significantly better team fight and can push down towers at will. At what point does IG decide to try and go uphill? Is it with this Aegis, or is it just trying to get control for now with this Aegis, wait until like the Butterfly and Scotty pick up of SF and maybe go uphill with the second Roshan Aegis?
I think if they keep trading farm, we're never going to reach a point when IG can just high ground with Shadow Fiend. I think the damage on Cloud9 is going to be too much. The Visage is going to be a problem, the spam from Lesh, Plasma Field. Every time you just cast those spells, you get a 4-charge Soul Assumption, and you just keep targeting him down and he has to go back. This time around, they don't have the same defensive cast of supports. They've got Soul Rip, that's it. And I don't think that's enough sustain to do it. So probably the approach for IG is to try to find a pickoff or two and then push towers instead of going for a raw just 5-man down the lane, because it's one thing they need to reach the base and start hitting, but their timing window is so small before they have to port back and defend against Prophet.
There's the Aghanim's pickup from Burning, or at least it's going to be on its way soon via Chicken. And they are going to go with this 4-man smoke and head into that middle tier 2 area. Unfortunately, they didn't find anybody. They may just try and rotate bottom next, but it seems like it's just a bit too late. As Eternal Envy is already backing himself up. Unless Luo blinks aggressively here, we'll not be able to find him, and Bone 7 is already out as well. Now, all the meanwhile, we see that top lane is being pushed out by Big Daddy. Maybe not him, his hero, but you've got those familiars going to work, and as he picks up more gold, he gets closer and closer to that Aghanim's, which he's over halfway to.
And speaking of items, here's our double Aghanim's coming in for IG, one for Burning, as well as one for, what was the other hero? It was Quap, who is level 16 as well, so some really powerful Sonic Waves are available. 575 pure damage on that nuke, which is nothing to scoff at. If you're looking over the Radiant lineup, they are decently tanky, but still gonna hit them very, very hard. And
yeah, that's 1/3 of the Leshrax's HP.
Yeah.
You combine that with the level 3 Laguna Blade out from, I mean, that just...
He actually dies.
He actually just, they two-shot the Leshrac potentially if they focus both their ultimates on him, and then you're left with Bone 7 and Eternal Envy to try and carry the fight, and I'm not sure if they can at this point.
What do you think about Ferrari's choice of getting a Shadow Blade this game? I feel like it's a way of setting him up for trying to solo kill these split pushers. Is that valuable enough? Like the build up into Silver Edge, I feel like is pretty weak this game. There's nothing you really want to remove. I guess it's nice to remove Unstable Current, but they're not really itemizing against Envy anyway because he's been sacked so much this game. So could I have invested into a high ground item instead? Do you think that would have been better?
I think I completely agree with you. I feel like there was already enough pick-off potential between Luo and Burning. You put pressure on the split pushers. I doubt you're going to get that much added value out of the Shadow Blade. You might as well try and go for the faster 6-slotted SF, essentially, with higher value late-game items such as Scotty and Butterfly.
Up top now, Chuan will be pushing this out. He's gone for the Force Staff Urn build-up. Blink not too far away, about 1,000 to go for him, which should take him a few minutes if he doesn't get caught out. And that could be a pretty key item to get. It's even more pick-off. Of course, as you mentioned, they have the 2 Yules, but if they can use at least one of them defensively, I think that would be a really big advantage for them. So have the aggressive play come out of the Rubik, who can always just force back to safety after making the aggressive play with the Blink. And I'm wondering if Tron actually even wants to go for that, though. He might consider something else. There's a lot of Ags upgrades. There's actually 5 on the Radiant side, so any ult is a good steal. And maybe he feels like the 4 staff is enough for mobility.
Yeah, who knows? We may see that Aghanim's Nature's Prophet, not from the Furion himself, but perhaps Rubik steals it.
The treants he should spawn with those should be like small Rubik treants walking around like his little...
with little stabs and doing his head bob.
That would be really good. Just like his static remnants, you know? Just do that with the trees, like that.
What's that?
That makes perfect sense because Furion's treants are small prophets too, yeah, okay.
We got Ferrari, who is about to finish up his Scotty. He still needs another 1,200 gold, but he's getting there. And that'll mean a significant stat upgrade. They take the second Roshan, potentially. I mean, Cloud9 could very easily contest. Oh, not sure that was...
There's a code message.
Yeah?
It's the timer of Roche, and it's 322. Smooth, Envy.
Well done. And also well done to you for sneaking in another meme.
Did it.
Got it. BKB finished up for Eternal Envy. Cloud9, I mean, they dropped down. You look at the just net worth over the last 2 or 3 minutes. They have been steadily going in the favor of IG, but I don't feel it's going enough in the favor of IG that it's actually getting them an advantage. I actually feel like the game just drawing out is still to the favor of Cloud9 solely because they're slowly but surely getting Eternal Envy back into the game and at least making him, you know, at this point, kind of a 3 position, if anything, whereas before he was like a hard 4.
They're going to look for the play right now. They know Roshan will be spawning sometime soon. I think Envy's message in the chat there was was that the time Roche got killed? So that would mean the earliest respawn would actually be in 10 seconds. So they want to make sure that IG don't get it for free. And if this smoke is successful, I'm hearing a BKB.
Whoa, that was it. Where was it?
Am I hearing things? Ah, Fata. Just
oh, that's unfortunate.
wanted to look pretty for his friends.
Yeah, the Rainbow Pony turns golds. Shiva's next for his item is the plate mail. This will significantly increase his tankiness against a lot of physical damage out from the SF. I feel the pickup. Is there anything else he really could have gone though?
On which hero was that?
The Leshrac.
I was thinking Octarine just to get more health, because the problem with the Shiva's build-up is that you're still going to get blown up by Lina. And the best tankiness in this case all around, I would say, is a health item, and it's either Octarine or Heart then, pretty much for a Lesh.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he might keep this as a casual plate mail and then go into Octarine. I think Shiva's is maybe a bit too greedy in terms of his overall tankiness against these, both Laguna Blade and Sonic Wave, but...
That makes sense. Big Daddy's actually taking the rest of these rank clicks because he now has an Aghanim's upgrade. So triple birds just means more flying rats come in the way of Cloud9, more opportunities for them to draw out this game.
Rats.
They're pigeons, man.
Oh my god, I do not want to play against you.
BKB picked up on our Spirit Breaker as well, so we do have some fighting power when it comes to that, and it probably will around this Roshan pit. It looks like IG are first going to try and go for a pickup. Link forward on Luo. He's going to be able to find Big Daddy himself with that Yule Scepter, trying to get away with the Great Chill, but another Yule Scepter to stop him with Light Strike Array, and that is a pickoff which now almost all but guarantees IG will be able to get Roshan.
Yeah, and they still even have double warding control here. This is a really good setup from them. All right, that was an interesting circle I drew on the last one. I didn't know that happens. So, yeah, this is theirs. I think Cloud9 will just be looking for the best possible trade, which is Envy split pushing mid and Prophet of Bone 7 split pushing top. But I doubt they're going to get a single tower, as Luo is just ready to defend. And
yeah,
they don't need the backup.
He ends up defending middle, and if necessary, he can blink up to top and just throw out a Sonic Wave real quickly. So it seems like his defense means that Cloud9, all they get out of this is a little bit of farm, which they were already getting anyway. So a big win for IG for sure.
Now, do we have anything big coming up for Cloud9? Bone 7 could buy a Hex right now if he wanted to. Or, sorry, never mind. He needs a bit more. It's the Void Stone he has, not the Ultimate Orb. I do believe that is his build-up here. I don't know if Cloud9 haven't... Well, they do have enough damage because of the Familiars, I guess. So they need to be kept safe and do a lot of damage in the fights.
Yeah.
Else, I don't see them carving through. For example, the Shadow Fiend twice with 2,300 health and 20 armor. A lot of work has to be done from the Cloud9 supports, where we have both Misery and No-Till in a pretty good position. Like, if you look at the net worth, they're actually ahead of the counterparts on IG's side, which is the reason the overall net worth is not more than about a 6k lead for the Dire. The supports have done a really good job in this game on Cloud9 of keeping up. But I'm still looking for Misery's item that's going to make him more than just a control. Like, you go Midas into BKB, which is like a guaranteed charge, a guaranteed another strike.
Yeah.
What's next? He needs some sort of damage.
What is the most efficient damage item, do you feel, for Spirit Breaker? Is he the one? Oh, Lewis actually? Maybe? No, never mind. Orchid goes out on him.
Well, he used it aggressively, the Yules, but he's all right.
Yeah, he'll be able to blink away. Do you go perhaps in Armlet? It feels like that's the one time that Armlet is very viable. Someone like a Spirit Breaker who gets a big advantage of it.
I think it's just too late for Armlet.
Okay.
If you look at its cost efficiency, it is one of the best items in the game for the price you pay, but
Yeah.
36 minutes is generally not the choice. I don't have a very, I don't think there's one item that just solves all the problems. Maybe he goes for, instead of focusing on his own damage, he focuses on the team's damage. So you get like a Kiras, which both Prophet, Visage, and Razor, and even to an extent Edict benefits from. So that might be the best choice.
Yeah,
someone has to carry the auras.
That makes a lot of sense because at that point, you get the AC on the Spirit Breaker. The other option would have been the AC on the Razor, but we've already talked about how the pure damage plays very well against heavy armor. When you just don't have that high of HP, the pure damage just cuts right through you and able to punish you pretty heavily. So that can mean that our Razor then goes for maybe heavier, say, Aghanims, which at least gives you a little bit of stats, obviously big damage increase, or perhaps there's another HP item that he can go for instead, maybe Heart, but Heart's second item feels too defensive.
I'm wondering if this is a game where you go BKB and Lincolns, actually, on some of the heroes. That is very defensive indeed, though, but it would guarantee that they can at least survive for the duration of their BKBs, most likely. The only really dangerous damage when they have the Lincolns up is, I guess, well, Spellsteal can even still break the Lincolns, I suppose, through BKB. So even with that, they're not safe from Laguna. So on second thought, probably not the build here. They won't even be protected with that, which is unfortunate, because else I think it would have been worth it. Ferrari does not hit hard enough yet. That's a good steal.
Yeah, he just got that Split Earth, but not close enough to be able to get the telekinesis into that stun. Is there enough value? So we were talking about where Fada is going to go with this plate mail. Originally I said Shiva's, and you said, okay, maybe he just picks up the plate mail and goes back for the Octarine Core, which is definitely a big possibility, and I think that's the best idea. At that point, if he goes Octarine Core, finishes that up, where's the plate mail go? Is it a good enough game for Lotus Orb simply because of Laguna Blade, or is it just too risky? Essentially, if you don't get the Laguna Blade, it's not worth.
I think Shivas is just a more stable choice overall in that case. He also gets lower cooldown on, well, he would get that on the Orb as well from having the Octarine Core, but both Shivas and Octarine would be decent choices. If there was another really key reflect that he could catch, especially, well, is there a Hex on the Dire? Because then it gets a lot more interesting. There is not. They're not itemizing Hex, because then I think Lotus Orb is a better choice, just because then, well, if you go on anyone else, you can just purge that off and play it in the fight. And you really don't want to go on Lesh when he goes in, right? You just, if he doesn't need to purge, he can pop it on himself, just run in, and force the enemy team to either take damage in reflection similar to a Blade Mail, or to target someone else, which is obviously a big benefit. This is some next level play here from Cloud9 with this setting up right here. Yeah, this is the kind of gank it doesn't matter how much you've played Dota, you're not prepared for this.
Yeah, absolutely not.
But they gave up on it.
Unfortunately for us, we're not going to see that game come to fruition. Now, IG, Luo actually almost has a full-up Assault Cuirass, at least that's where I'm presuming this Hyperstone goes to.
Envy could be in trouble here. Ferrari does not get the opening, but instead he might find it on Fata. He lets it go.
Oh, but Fata immediately turns on the BKB ahead of the side device, but he's still going to be right-click down. He is able to get off the Bloodstone Deny at the very least, but that now puts him down to 4 charges. And IG actually in a really great position to poke uphill and potentially force that buyback from our Leshrac.
They lost their Aegis, though. I'm not sure Ferrari is interested in this high ground siege, but looks like... Now, the risk here is, even if they force the buyback, it's very difficult for them to disengage against the Radiant lineup. There's Teleport behind them with Hex and Orchid. There's, of course, the Familiars that can fly behind and drop, and even the charge from Spirit Breaker could be a threat here. They're doing their very best to force this buyback from Fatsa, who really does not want to use it, as now he might have to. No-tail, God!
Jesus, but that's double ultimates. And Misery coming in with the charge. It seems like with those double ultimates used, there's no way IG can really fight once the Leshrac is up, despite a 4 versus 5 advantage. But at the very least, they'll get this tier 3 tower. And are they going to make the full committal for this melee Rax? Cloud9 need to try and come in defense soon. Ferrari, sure enough, he's going to be starting force back. Misery gets the lockdown onto Burning, trying to eliminate him first. But where's the follow-up damage? Fauna runs right through. Rainbow Pony coming through, managed to take out 1, 2, and now going over third on Ferrari, who's sprouted up, trying to right-click down Eternal Envy, managed to get off the cheese, but it's still not enough. He ends up going down. Now Misery going to be the next target. IG have lost 3 and may just lose a 4th, but Misery, there's the turnaround. Bone 7 coming in with another sprout. TP out, Faith. The drop down from the Familiars isn't there, and the blink away from Chuan is out. IG managed to keep their 2 supports alive, but a huge win for Cloud9 as IG overstayed their welcome.
That is a really big experience swing in particular. It's about 7,000 they gained. 4K on the gold, not the biggest of deal for IG. It matters a lot, but not that much. I don't know where I was going with that, but, you know,
I think you're getting confused by the whole entire crowd currently trying to lend E some their energy. They're all chanting right now.
Yeah, he got a lot of gold out of that, but, you know, IG got a little bit too greedy there, staying. I think you made the right call. It's time to go back. Even with Visage dead, their key abilities are on cooldown, and they were not able to fight that. Once Misery charged in, there was no really good counterplay for them, and Cloud9 really managed to get a significant fight out of that. They did lose their tier 3, but they held the melee Rax, and they're healing up. And there's a while until Roshan respawns, so they might have a full HP melee Rax when the next chance comes for IG.
All right, Fada, we played the guessing game with you for a while now, but you got to make a choice. He's got a lot of farm and a Shiva's Guard. He picks up the recipe, he'll finish it up now, and he'll still have a lot of gold to fall back on, potentially building into that next item. Well, for now, even holding on to buyback.
Yeah, and it is the Shivas first. I hope you did not just say that.
I might have.
You didn't know yet, because you still had it.
There's definitely a way where he could have bought the recipe just to fake me out, Cinder. That's true.
Oh, he had the... Damn it. Yeah, so Shivas, I really still think it is going to be an Octarine next. Alternatives worth noting are Boots of Travel, maybe a second Scythe for them, but I think that's once again going to leave him too fragile. He really needs to tank up. And Octarine just is the obvious choice, and it is just so good for this hero. The raw health, the cooldown reduction on all 4 spells, in particular the other spells than Edict, and then even getting lower cooldown on both your BKB and your Shivas is really nice. And the cooldown on that Bloodstone Suicide, let's not forget, it's really good to be able to kill yourself faster. Or more frequently.
Excellent analysis.
Not faster. Thank you.
Senrin will be here all weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Eternal Envy has finished up his Assault Cuirass, which means take a look at our Spirit Breaker. I think I've been calling for it a lot lately, but this might be our first Lotus Orb.
Is it, though?
I mean, he's got a plate mail. We already have Shivas. We already have AC.
Yeah, you're right.
There's only that item left, right?
Yeah.
All right, smoke up. Cloud9. Heading into the enemy side of things, if they get a really big pickoff here, this could be them going all the way uphill. And they've already targeted Ferrari. He's not going to expect this one. 8 from the trees, locked down. There's the side device, but they managed to throw out a glimmer. Cape Town will survive. Eternal Envy almost goes down to the pure damage by himself. The right clicks will end up finishing him off. Luo fighting up against 2, but he will go down. Ferrari gets off that ultimate, but Fada's now run out of the BKB. This leaves Burning, able to be able to right click him down and also catch through Misery. No, the charge right through. He gets away. Luo unable to catch him, and Misery, what a beautiful escape.
Still a 2-for-0 there. They didn't even get Luo. It looked like he was going to drop, but he managed to use, I think he had a 17 charge wand and just blinked out and reset. So it cost IG more or less nothing, just 1 or 2 BKB charges. Their ultimates are not very long cooldown, so they might be able to force down mid once again. Now this time they need to be careful not to overextend as much as last time. And what buybacks do we have? None on Envy. Fata is up in 20 and has buybacks, so realistically we'll have 2 lives when he comes out in 15.
Yeah.
But I think the melee racks are gone before that point.
Yeah, but usually I think the range racks as well. You can already see Bone 7 kind of scrambling to get whatever he can by heavily pushing down that bottom lane, hoping to get some damage on the tier 3 tower in return. But it's IG who have already claimed the whole entire rack set in the middle lane, and Bone 7 forced away, only doing a bit of chip damage on that bottom tier 3 tower. So Cloud9 a heavy, heavy loss. The first time, really, that they try and get super offensive as a 5-man, and it ends up backfiring quite heavily. It seems like now they just have to go back to split pushing, which has been keeping them in this game the whole entire time.
Oh, and they need to be careful not to lose their birds burning. Precasting a little bit of spells here to get the attack speed. He will get 1-2 birds here.
Nice. And it's down, well, it'll actually be up another 25, so.
But that means he doesn't have a resummon in the fight, which I think is a lot of the time overlooked. How powerful it is. A lot of the times it's just like, okay, we have a resummon, we have 3 birds going into the fight, but having 6 birds is just twice as good as having 3 birds. That's math I just did right there. I
can see where your college degree went into.
Thank you very much. But it's a little bit different than that. Burning has to be KB.
Here's a little bit of math for you. IG 5 minus 1 equals 4. Can they still win this fight? IG and pop the BKB. Ferrari's going to try and right-click down Eternal Envy, get into off the ultimate. Misery's just not getting lucky with those bashes. Eternal Envy will fall, but first he gets the Rubik. Lul blinking forward does manage to lock him down. Ferrari also getting hit by the Explodering. And Lul even getting sacrificed up. That's 3 down from IG, plus 2 buybacks. They're going to be able to play defense here, but a big win for Cloud9.
Did they buy back 2 there?
I believe that, that was a buyback on Burning. He died. He died first in the fight, had to buy back in order to get back into it. I don't think he even had an impact, though.
I think they're buying back here to, first of all, they need to push out the top lane against the Prophet, and maybe they were hoping that they could contest the Roshan with these buybacks, but they don't have enough. Cloud9 get a 3-for-1 double buyback and Roshan in one fight. That is the game back to even. All of a sudden, massive fight for them. Great smoke play.
Aegis for Fada, Big Daddy No Tail picking up the cheese, presumably to pass off to potentially the Leshrac or maybe even Eternal Envy later on. But as you said, this game is brought back to pretty much dead even when it comes to the charts, and really just a 1-lane Rax advantage as we're approaching the 15-minute mark isn't that big of a deal anymore. It was perhaps at the time that IG claimed it, but Cloud9 are more than farmed enough to be able to deal with these super creeps.
And now we need to start looking at the scaling of IG's lineup, because we're reaching the point in time when we need to... Okay, so Quap has 1 physical damage item in the Cuirass, but nothing to go with it, so it doesn't hit that hard right now. Shadow Fiend is building what looks to be a Satanic, so won't be getting much more damage out of that one. And then you've got Lina, who in theory can hit super hard with Fiery Soul, but doesn't have a damage item either. So when Cloud9 start getting more and more health just from leveling up and getting those attribute bonuses and getting 1 or 2 more items, I'm worried for IG that they are going to struggle to keep killing targets, and then they're going to just get run over.
Yeah, unless they were massively ahead, I would say that IG, just looking at the draft early on, would have to try and close out this game by 45, 50 minutes. Much later, and Cloud9 will be able to get, I would say, a serious advantage with their kind of greedy supports that they picked up, and an offlaner who has a huge benefit as time goes on. This Furion is going to be more dangerous as time goes on. It looks like he's actually trying to, well, he turns that Maelstrom, nice little pushing item, into now what is an MKB against that Butterfly against Ferrari, I would presume.
Yeah, that's the most logical choice here, is to go for that. And, well, alternatively, he could actually consider, okay, so MKB is better against Shadow Fiend, but Daedalus is better against everyone else, because no one else on IG's side will be getting evasion. So it's about what he prioritizes. I think he will go for the MKB, so they make sure they have the tools for killing off Ferrari. But there's definitely some merit to the Daedalus as well, because one thing that often happens in team fights is that you're really focused on one point in the fight, and that's where Prophet can sneak in behind you and start destroying your supports in a few attacks when they're not paying attention, or rather paying attention to something else. And I've seen it in quite a few games, especially from Admiral Bulldog's Prophet, where Alliance would just set up a fight where they go in one angle just to set up for Bulldog and nothing else, so that he could find kills. So
and it's not just the supports, right? I mean, you have 2 pretty squishy intelligence cores on the side of IG as well, so he can even potentially just like right-click down Burning from the start of a fight if they're focused elsewhere. So I think that may actually be a good idea going for the Daedalus, but it would seem like a more natural build-up in MKB. Either way, I think either one of these is a strong item pickup. We've got the Solar Crest now completed for Big Daddy No Tail. It looks like Octarine Core soon to be finished up on our Leshrac as well. And after that, we've got the Advanced Boots of Travel to be able to pick up. Where do you go? What's your last item as a Leshrac? Is it tankiness via a heart and just try and HP up as much as possible?
I think...
Or Aghanims? I mean, we did rarely see it on Leshrac, but...
I think Hex is still really valuable. That, or maybe even an E-Blade later on could be a choice.
Okay.
It really depends on what they want to try to accomplish. I still think the Lincolns I was talking about earlier that isn't going to work too well because of Spell Steal might still have a major impact, because once the Spell Steal is used, you know that Lincolns will block a key ability. Either block a Hex or maybe a Yule's, or even better, the Laguna Blade.
Right.
And with the Octarine Core, you have a lower cooldown on it as well. So there's a very high chance that you will get big value out of that in fights. It could be a choice. But I still think Hex overall probably the best choice.
IG, they seem to be planning on just waiting out Cloud9 for the time being, waiting for them to try and push uphill. And with a proper defense, maybe they can get control of this map again and maybe even snag another lane of racks. They've got double BKBs that actually have a good amount of charges. First of all, they just grabbed the fresh BKB on Luo. 10 seconds there, but Burning also still has another 8 seconds on his BKB. Obviously, we're still getting a lot of physical damage coming out from Cloud9, but it will be able to stop majority of those dangerous disables from C9. We still have to worry about our Spirit Breaker, though, whose Midas is really paying off, as it feels like, it's been like 30 minutes since he's picked up that Midas. It's definitely paid for itself, and perhaps even doubled.
I feel like Cloud9 might have missed a timing window or a big opportunity here while the Aegis is going to expire now, and there were 2 buybacks on cooldown on IG. So that's the kind of situation where you can try to go for a high ground force, and if you make the play, you would just flat out win the game. Now instead, the ball is in IG's court, so try to make a play now that it's on.
Oh, they get the telekinesis. They're going to try and change that. Oh, he's gone. Misery charges right through all of them with the BKB popped. The rest of IG looking to be able to pursue him. He pops the Lotus Orb, but he's not going anywhere. The right clicks cannot be reflected, my friend. 2 heroes down, and sure enough, IG, who we were looking at this game and going, okay, Cloud9 are getting stronger and stronger and feeling more pessimistic about their chances. Just as that Aegis expires, IG finds their opening to be able to take control of this game.
They actually used the Aegis better than Cloud9 did, because they gave Cloud9 a false feeling of safety around their jungle area, and they had the timing nailed down perfectly. So where Cloud9 could have tried to make the aggressive play and maybe get a decent fight, maybe a trade where if you catch the Lina or the Shadow, or what was it, Lina or Quap that don't have buybacks, maybe you snowball the fight out of it. At least you use the Aegis to try to put some pressure. Instead, they are only on the receiving end, and IG lose nothing.
IG looking for more here. They're going to be able to find Bone 7. Another big pickoff right as the Leshrac is coming back.
He does have a buyback, though, Ferrari. Ooh, he's sitting very far forward here, scouting a lot of heroes. Unfortunately, IG, those Blink Daggers were just coming off cooldown. I was looking to Burning to try and make another Blink Yule's play. Unfortunately, no extra pickoff for them. 60 seconds for them to be able to force a buyback. Unfortunately for them, if they want to do that, they'd have to go through middle to bottom lane. As it is, the bottom lane is pushing out as well as top, and top even has its tier 2 tower still.
Artillery. Here comes the airstrike top lane with the birds. Actually almost getting the tier 3. That is really annoying for IG to deal with. They would have loved to get some sort of collateral, forcing a buyback from Prophet or maybe a glyph, something like that, but they end up getting nothing because of No-Tail's bird control in that top lane.
I mean, I know it disgusted you, Sin, but am I wrong? Flying rats. That's exactly what that Aghanim's upgrade allows Cloud9 to be able to do. These familiars just sitting up at top lane constantly. And are they actually going to be making a play here? I don't think they have any boots of travel to get up there. So Eternal Levy probably just waiting out until Luo leaves, and they're going to try and push the lane again.
He wants to get a bird. He won't get it. And yeah, I think that's the play for Envy. They just want to put as much pressure on the map as possible. So immediately when he sees Luo go away here, he is going to use that opportunity to TP back to mid. All right. So absolutely not the play this time around. I thought he was going to go in Plasma Field this wave, but instead playing it safe, sticking with his team. And by the way, speaking of Envy, he's got 5K in the bank. So it's possible he's going to go for a big item here, maybe an or maybe no damn item at all. They almost get Fata again, but this Sprout is going to give it away. The flying vision of this should be enough to give Cloud9 all the info they need.
Are they going to back up in time? Oh no! The Blink Daggers catch up on it. They're going to lock down 2. 1, 2 out. Cloud9. They have buybacks on both, but IG have now put themselves in a great position to be able to go uphill through bottom lane.
this has to be a buyback force out for IG. They have their buybacks themselves if the fight goes wrong. At least if they don't force buybacks, they need to secure the Roshan that they know will be spawning within the next few minutes. And if they get full map control and just play the high ground inside the inside the Radiant jungle, they should be able to put the pressure. He's basically just killing himself to buy time. Buyback too late from Fata. He doesn't even have one himself.
They've got 20 seconds left still on the Visage, but he doesn't have his ultimate, so really what good is that going to do? They're going to start
communication.
Maybe they just have to give this up without Misery.
Not good news for Cloud9.
This feels like a fight that they simply cannot win. Tier 3 tower slowly but surely going to be chipped down. Sure enough, the telekinesis hits 2 with the Sonic Wave. Bone 7's going to be the next target. He goes down as well. They have buybacks, but the racks are going to fall anyway. IG just right-clicking down real quick. We have the first TP in. Big Daddy trying to slow them down. Cloud9 have to catch him, but Big Daddy already getting blown up by the Laguna Blade. Ferrari pops his BKB, now turns on a Fada, gets off that ultimate, forcing back the rest of Cloud9. Eternal Envy stealing away his damage, wanting to be able to target these heroes. Luo actually gets hit by the Orc, and it will be blown up. He goes down, but buys the SF time to get out. The rest of IG on retreat. Faith may be caught here.
He's
he doesn't have any escape.
He's got 2 gems.
Oh, Jesus. Glimmercape. Is he actually going to get away from this? Hide himself away, but Eternal Envy.
Time for the juke.
Yeah, Plasma Field will be able to catch him. That's double gems on the deck. Cloud9, though,
have lost themselves another Rax. Melee Rax goes down in bottom lane, and range Rax down to about half HP. They have to make something big happen with this, and perhaps it's the big man himself.
How many buybacks did they expend there? Was that 3? Prophet, Razor, and Visage, and Lesh. Actually, 4 defensive buybacks from Cloud9.
Ooh, but
they're trying
IG,
Feroce. Yeah, they're not getting this one.
They invest 2 buybacks to be able to force Cloud9 back. And they just, I guess at this point, the buybacks at that point are worth it for IG because they use 2 buybacks, but they essentially get 2 extra lives with both the Aegis and the Cheese. So that's not really that big of a cost for IG.
If they secure this Roche, I think the game is almost over. Cloud9 cannot allow this to happen. They have to fight for it. At the very least, if IG get the Aegis and Cheese, they need to make them pay with a couple of heroes for it. Well, this item could help.
Yeah, Fada. There's no stalling things up now. He's got 4 Bloodstone charges. He does not have a buyback. He might as well go all in for his items at this point. Scythe of Ice, there was another big item. It seems like IG are winning this game purely off the initiation.
I almost got the courier kill to Roche.
Jesus. All right. Fortunately, didn't have any items, so we're good there. But IG, this could be the final fight right here. Look at Cloud9. They're setting up here in the trees. But if they get caught into a bad fight, Ferrari leading the way. Chuan leading with the telekinesis. They're going to go to support this time. They managed to get off the BKB in time. Chuan managed to live a little bit longer. Fada's right in the middle of everyone. With that ultimate, they've locked out Ferrari. They're going to be able to take him out of here. He's down for 100 seconds, but he has 3 buybacks. Chuan trapped in the trees. Luo's going to get out. And Cloud9 are looking for to be able to grab more, but there's no Sprout to stop Luo from escaping. And IG can still contest Roshan if they really want to, but it'd be without Alina, and they'd force a buyback on Rubik, so it doesn't look like a Cloud9 have just won themselves an Aegis in Cheese.
And he must have used that Cheese on literally 1% health. He got Lagooned, he was super low, ends up getting full value out of it. And IG, with that happening, they lose the Lina, Envy able to solo him up and take so much attention in that fight. That is really, really crucial for them. I think they lose the game if he doesn't get Cheese off there. That's how big it was.
Insane timing from Eternal Envy and really good setup from Cloud9 as well. The fact that this time around, the Blink and Telekinesis was on a support meant they couldn't just blow up one of the cores right away and eliminate their impact. If someone like the Leshrac had been the first to target who doesn't have a buyback, that would have been a huge blow to Cloud9.
He was just so quick at using his BKB. Fata reacted instantly to that blink in from Rubik. He was the target that Chuan was looking for, but wasn't able to make it. And now Cloud9 all of a sudden might have a big opportunity. Look at this roller coaster of a graph. Like, I don't know, this looks like something that belongs in some sort of theme park. And, you know, I don't want to call who's ahead in this game anymore. they're down 1.5 lane of Rax Cloud9, but if they take one good fight in the enemy base, it's over. Like, the Rax don't matter at this point. It's an hour in.
Yeah, either way at this point, because we've got no buybacks on practically everybody. Spirit Breaker and Rubik. Like, that is not enough to hold for either side. Cloud9 obviously have the advantage of the Aegis, and IG are going to try and wait that one out for as long as possible. But it could mean the timing is there for Cloud9 to actually try and push uphill with the Aegis and still have their buybacks intact. If they wait out 3 minutes, the Visage buyback will be there. Same goes with Bone 7 and the rest of the team. They'll have those buybacks available, and they'll have the security of pushing uphill with an Aegis and Cheese. That seems like a huge advantage that you can't ignore on the side of Cloud9.
But this time they definitely need to play with the Aegis, I think. If they wait too long again and let IG make the aggressive play and they lose without using this Aegis too, they're going to regret that big time. So I don't think they're going to make the same mistake again. They will be looking to aggress in the top lane. They have a pretty good idea of where IG are, since they definitely want to play back in this current situation in the game. So we'll be pushing out all the lanes. Even though there's melee super creeps in the bot lane, the Visage Familiars as well as Prophet can very easily push this out without being out of position for a fight in mid. Cloud9, this is close.
If you see the opening here, IG forces the fight. But what happens if they don't see an opening on Cloud9? Do they just give up potentially a lane of Rax in exchange for waiting out Aegis?
Absolutely. I think that's the best play when you don't have buybacks here, is just if you find the right timing so that you concede a lane of Barracks just to hold and then the Aegis expires, fine. But you don't give them a lane of Rax within the next 30 seconds, because then they just go for a second one.
Yeah. So they're going to try and keep this push back for as long as possible. Quickly blowing up the wave in that tier 3 tower, down to 250 HP, but Cloud9 not going uphill just yet.
This has been, in the last half a year, one of the problems for Cloud9 has been their inability to go high ground very well. They improved on it, but still, in some games, just showing signs of weakness, being a little bit too hesitant to go or not finding the right initiation angle. Let's see if they can do it this time. They're definitely going to go for it. This is not the spell steal John was looking for, by the way. It's like the worst spell he can steal out of any.
Absolutely. There goes that tier 3 tower. IG, they get a force staff back, slowed down by the lightnings, but they'll be good. Eternal Envy on the front lines with the BKB blown, and now that's the opportunity IG we're looking for. They're going to blow up Eternal Envy right away. Fada's already low as well. This could be him dying twice. Oh no, a Yule Scepter on a Big Daddy is going to be able to catch him out as well. There goes the ultimate. Fada pops a BKB in time. Hey, and he get anything out of this Octarine core? It's just not enough. He's life stealing so much, but it didn't matter. IG takedown 2, and Cloud9 may just be feeling some bad memories. Last year, ESL won Frankfurt in the very first round against Alliance. Game number 3, game number 2 actually, they pushed it very, very late. A very close game just like this, and it was a total heartbreaker for
Cloud9's high ground siege is just not that good. Envy there going way too aggressive in for the dive. Really wanted to force the fight when, honestly, things were going well. They got the tower for free. They could start hitting the racks, force IG to initiate on them, and then go for the big counterplay. Instead, they waste the Razor BKB for pretty much, he got nothing out of that. And immediately when that is expired, they can go for the Hex play. They get the Laguna out. I think even when Envy went in with the BKB, they used the Lotus Orb from the Spirit Breaker too. So both BKB and Lotus Orb wasted, and then they hexed him, so they can't even counterplay that one. Really, really big.
The charge coming in, they're going to go straight for Burning. Already leading with the side device, the force back away. They're going to be able to get off the BKB and the Glimmer Cape. Burning survives and will be able to get off his host of abilities. Laguna Blade onto Eternal Envy brings them all. Sonic Wave as well. Double pure damage, baby. That's what we're talking about. Misery comes in, life stealing up a little bit. Burning trying to take him out. Last couple of right clicks, he needs it so bad, but he can't get it. Burning survives. Fada's now fighting up against 3, but he can't afford to die here. He goes down. No buybacks on Envy. No buyback on Fada. And IG rampaging through Cloud9 one by one. Another core down without buyback. That could be just IG winning the game outright off of a Cloud9 initiation failed.
I am shocked that they tried to go for the play up here. There was, I guess IG were surprised by it, but if you don't pull that off perfectly with that charge in, you put yourself in a horrible position. They buy back the Razor, trying to go for that play when they could have made the very same play inside their own base instead. And I think this could just be the end of Cloud9's run. That was a fight they simply could not afford to lose.
Yeah, they're gonna have to fight this 3 versus 5 with Bone 7 being their only core up. That Sam's damn near impossible. Cloud9 gonna have to perform miracles here. There goes the 2 sets of racks. They're left with only the range. Big Daddy already blown up. Double ultimates being used by him. Burning Brought low, but Bone 7 gets caught again. He goes down. A buyback from Big Daddy. It's not gonna be enough. It's just the 2 supports fighting for their lives in this tournament. But there's the Mega Creeps, and there's the GG. Cloud9. It happens again. 2 of the toughest teams going into this tournament fighting against each other in round 1, and Cloud9 managed to come back, push it to a game 3, and make it incredibly close, but just can't seal the deal, and IG will now be the Chinese hope pushing forward in ESL 1 Frankfurt 2015.
And Cloud9 have got to be feeling like I don't want to say they threw the game away, because at no point in this game did it feel like they really had the lead, but they were at least, at one point they were tied. They had the Aegis, they had the cheese, they knew there was a buyback or 2 on cooldown. I think the mistakes in this game, not using the first Aegis, that cost them, instead being smoked on, they lose Fatsa there. Then with the second Aegis and cheese, the play, when they go in that top lane, Raze are too aggressive, not really just playing it safe, getting the racks there, and instead IG in what was absolutely a roller coaster of a game where, to be fair, with how the earlier portion of the mid game went, IG could have definitely won this earlier, but Cloud9 had some really good mid game fights that I think we shouldn't forget. It was still a good showing from them, but IG just a little bit stronger today in this series.
Yeah, IG were looking very good in going into this tournament. Cloud9 managed to push it to a game 3 and really test IG, especially with the comeback in the mid game, but it doesn't prove to be enough. And that'll be the end of Cloud9's run. IG moving on into the semifinals, and that brings a close to our 3rd series. We still have 1 more to go, guys, but we're going to cut to a short break and then the panel.